Hey, Dr. Kimberly, it says we're live up there in the corner.
It's like, what are you doing, Dave?
I didn't plug in my phone because it was going to die, and I got to go to something after this, and too busy to be busy. Blah. Enough about me, Dr. Kimberly. How are you?
I am doing good. So I want to say good afternoon to all of our viewers. We are in 50 states and in 9 countries. How exciting that is.
Wow.
You are rolling on the road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. And today our guests are Reggie Howard and Shontaze Jones. And they are part of a collaborative group who came up with Heroes Corner. And everybody knows, if you know me, so we played a little game backstage. How well do you know Dr. Kimberly? And Dave, stop that laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Okay.
Let me mute myself.
And so the top things that, they named, one of them was how I advocate so hard for veterans. And my excitement about Heroes Corner is just a little background. Being a United States Navy veteran, when I came home, I did not realize it was just, I grew up in the military. I joined when I was 17 years old, and to come back when you're dang near 30 years old to a community that you had not been in, I would have loved to have had a Heroes Corner. So when I was doing my research, I saw that it was even between male and female, based the race. It's like, oh my gosh, when you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I mean, you guys really have nailed it. You have all the socioeconomic levels, male, female, diversity in race, diversity in abilities. And I said, oh my gosh, how nice this would have been when I came home to have a space, because that's a major transition to grow up in the military where you're very close knit. I mean, if people don't realize that about the military, number one, when you join, you can join with a buddy if you would like to. And so you and your buddy go together and you guys stay, you go through boot camp, you go to your A school together, and then you get to your first duty station. When you get to your duty station, you are almost, the military is like a world within the world. Because as soon as you hit your base, everything else that is quote unquote civilian is over there. You're there 24/7. They tell you that as soon as you join, everything about you belongs to the military. It don't change too much when you become a veteran, but that's a piece I believe is missing when we come out of the military, that we don't have a place where we can feel a part of. Was that part of the impetus when you guys put this together? Was that at the forefront, or was there something else?
No, that was at the very forefront, because we experienced the same thing when we came home, and it just prolonged that it didn't seem like no one cared, not even at a VA level. They did not see any availability for what we're doing now with Heroes Corner. They think that all veterans should have to come to the VA, or all veterans should be sitting in another office, and that they should be documented and controlled, like we don't know how to behave and handle and do things on our own. Mm-hmm. So when we came up with Heroes Corner, we talked to a lot of veterans, and we found out the same thing, is that veterans, and they want to be sociable, they want to have fun, and they don't want to feel like, well, one day if I'm having a bad day and I talk to Taz, I don't have to worry about the next day somebody showing at my door and saying, hey, we're admitting you. So sometimes we have, yeah. And,
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you're all right. And this pandemic changed so many veteran lives. and not only did they change them for the good, but they also changed some permanently. And when I say that, I mean because we buried so many veterans that we did not get a chance to say goodbye, and they were our friends.
Yeah.
Then we also had so many veterans suffering in their apartments all alone. We had so many veterans that didn't know how to reach out. And then when they did reach out to the Veterans Crisis Line, they received something that they didn't think they were going to receive. And so now our veterans are looking forward to Heroes Corner, because I can honestly tell you, this has been a passion of mine since 2007, 2008. And I just got with the right group of veterans. And I'm not saying that because she's on here, but Taz is the perfect person to bring a veteran through the crisis and get them on the level to where they need to be today. I'm just the founder and the back pusher of it, but she's the backbone. I cannot believe the wealth of knowledge that she brought to me. This is the closest I'll probably ever come to winning a lotto, is working side by side with her.
I love it.
That's the priceless moment. So I'm gonna let her speak a little bit on how she feels about it.
Taz?
I don't know why y'all always want to make me cry.
Well, you know what? Before you say that, I want to kind of expound a little about why I laughed, because there has been many times where I've been at the VA and someone does say, hey, you know, this is how I'm feeling today. These things are happening. And the next thing you know, they come seriously with a paddy wagon from Battle Creek. You know, you're sitting there. They're just like, oh, we just need you to stay there. And you're just like, okay, what's happening? I want to go home. You know, my ride is waiting. And the next thing you know, they come with that white jacket and they wrap it around you. They put the lock on and they're escorting you out of the VA center. So, I mean, to have a place where I can come in and say, I'm having a crazy day, and know that a phone call is not going to be made and I'm going to be shipped off without ever having the ability to have a conversation with my family or let anybody know where I am, you know, and then people think that, oh, you're just MIA. I'm so grateful, but yeah, because those things do happen.
Yeah.
They happen.
Oh yeah. Too many times.
So, Taz?
One of our foundation points also was inclusion. I do think that there is a stereotype surrounding veterans, where they feel like if we have been in the military, any part of the service, we're fine. I wanted to draw a connection between those with disabilities and veterans, as well as stop us from being put in the paddy wagon. I am a person who has several disabilities and anxiety and was placed into a VA medical facility with other veterans who are not like, you know, we were not going through the same thing. If I had Heroes Corner back then, I probably would have never been admitted several times. Had I had Heroes Corner, I would have been able to speak to my peers without being locked away in a facility that to this day we don't understand why and what was the purpose to help. There are facilities within the VA, you know, where mental health, where some of us should be giving our background, but to have the same platform and the same, what would you say? It's the same book for all veterans. All veterans are not the same. All people are not the same. We have to stop looking at veterans with disabilities as they're soldiers. They're fine. They'll deal with it. That's not how it works. We're all a human at the end of the day. We all have disabilities in one way or another. Heroes Corner just came to bring the inclusion for people to say, I look like them. I familiarize with them. Our veterans walk into Heroes Corner and man, the smiles. I've had people say they was living in the dark for the past couple of months and they walk into Heroes Corner and they're able to take a deep breath. We try to familiarize with our fellow veterans, our peers, as well as lead them to organizations who has a big support for veterans, such as Disability Advocates of Kent County, where I started most of my disability advocates. I tell people all the time, I am a disability advocate. I am a veteran. I thank disability advocates for the platform they give veterans, as well as the education, the apprenticeships, the internships. So getting Heroes Corner connected with places such as DAC, Dr. Kimberly Kennedy, is a pleasure of mine. It is a warm handoff. I know when Reggie and I are sending veterans to places like that, we know that they're getting help. We know that they are going to the right place. So Heroes Corner, we really strive to cut out those barriers, as well as stopping our veterans from giving up. There's too much in between with a veteran and their benefits. There's too much in between with a veteran and what they rightfully should have. Heroes Corner is here to take out some of that middle. If we have to sit down and do an application with a veteran, we will do so. If we need to make the phone call to guide the veteran to a benefit or service, we will do so. We will try to get in the middle and remove as many barriers as we can between the veteran and their needs. And in the meantime, between time, they can come on down, play games. They can relieve anxiety, stress. If they are trying to be sober, Heroes Corner is an awesome place to come into and fellowship and remain sober and find reasons of being happy or give you a purpose. A lot of veterans have already told us they didn't have anything to do throughout the week. So now they come into Heroes Corner. They've gotten to the point of asking for shirts because they want to feel important and they feel like they belong to something, and they actually do.
I think that you brought up some really great points, because I think that, and Dave, I think you could speak more to it when I get ready to say this, is as soon as you say, you add advocacy to what it is that you do, many people will say, well, how do you differ from disability advocates of Kent County? And you look at everybody and say, well, you know what? We're ancillary. I think that.
Yeah, complementary. We work alongside. I mean, we're all in this together. It's not a separate us, them. It's we.
Mm-hmm.
We. So.
And I think that how do we really need to address that? I think that we need to just unpack this just a little bit in that area. Whereas I think we saw at the beginning of the pandemic, one of the things that I found out is whoever was a client at the beginning of the pandemic, then that's what they began with when it came to outreach, assisting. And that left so many other people. If you were never connected to Disability Advocates of Kent County, then how do you find out about other services such as 100 Shades or Heroes Corner if we're not all partnering? And I think that as we are trying to dismantle people's perceptions, with ableism, colorism, sexism, they want to keep people separated. But what I heard from both of you and Dave, you just said, you know what, this is a collaborative effort. It's not one place or the other, but it is a true collaboration of services.
Totally. Go, Reggie.
And then, that's one of the greatest things about it too. And I like the way Taz presented it, is that when we first started out with Heroes Corner, the VFW thought that we were trying to do something along the same line as they wanted to. So I met with the director, one of the guys at one of the VFWs, and when I explained to him what we were trying to do, they invited us back to speak at one of their meetings with all their commanders, because they seen the difference. And they was like, okay, you want to walk alongside us. And then they also invited us to the march in the Memorial Day parade that's coming Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the unique things about it is that they understood that veterans have substance abuse and veterans have mental health challenges, mm-hmm. that they need to be away from alcohol environment, because anyone knows if you keep going to the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. And one of the first things that they knew because when I went to the VFW hall, one of the first things somebody said, "Hey man, can I buy you something to drink?" See, so we let them know we're not trying to do any alcohol. We're not trying to do anything along that same line. We just want to give a veteran a safe environment to feel at home, to where we can help them with resources to get to the next level of their life. And also, what I love about it, man, it's the smiles on people's face. We don't brought back the old school board games. Dr. Kennedy, what's your favorite board game?
Checkers.
We got
it.
Dave, what's
Not
yours?
to mention, they are partnering with us. The president of the VFW sits beside us every single Thursday. She has committed. She also is on our board. So I just wanted to add that to how it started versus how it is now.
Yeah. Dave, what's your favorite board game?
Well, for me, it's I love playing cribbage.
We got them. We got 4 or 5 boards.
All right.
Index of cards.
Okay. So do you guys have Othello?
Othello.
No, but you can bring it. We're always taking donations. Hey, we're always looking for more board games and people to teach us how to play. So
Excellent.
Also, if I may plug in, this coming Thursday, we're going to be doing bingo. So we have great bingo prizes. So if anybody want to come and play bingo, we're going to be doing bingo. Probably going to start about 3:30.
Well, I'm going to quick call a timeout. And we dove right into the conversation about some of the why and all this. Like, what is Heroes Corner? So you're talking to somebody who, recent veteran, family member of a veteran. What is Heroes Corner?
Well, a place where veterans can feel at home. That tagline is the definition. Sorry, Reggie. That tagline is the definition of Heroes Corner. Because I don't care what services we may offer. If you don't feel like you're walking into a room of your peers, or you don't feel like you're walking into a place where you feel at home and you feel at ease, it doesn't matter what we offer. We have to create an environment. And Marge's Donuts is the first. It's not going to be the only. We're always looking for a permanent home. But Marge's Donuts is a place that kind of made that all possible as well because of the environment, the people. We have veterans that just come through the door randomly. But behind Heroes Corner is a barrier-free zone, a sober zone, no matter where we're located. It's also a place where you see people of your peers and you're able to get on-site services, without having to travel most of the time. There is nothing but love that surrounds you when you're with Heroes Corner. And I'll let Reggie go ahead and elaborate a little bit longer, but
and Dave, I want to tell you, because you say you're a veteran and you have family members of veterans, and you just say that wife who has that husband that's a veteran, who stays at home all the time, and then all of a sudden, Heroes Corner, she hears about Heroes Corner. So on Thursday, from 2 to 6, she could drop her husband off, go get a nice petty, and go get some stuff done, some time to herself. And you know what? And she knows her husband's in good hands. And when he walks through the door, he's gonna be greeted and made like you're home. If he decides he want to just sit and read a book, if he decides he wants to, if he just wants to have a donut and coffee, but I guarantee you, one of the things, before long, he's going to be joining in and he's going to be talking to other veterans. And one of the things about what people don't know about Heroes Corner, you can come and you don't have to be there right at 2 o'clock. You can come at 5, you can come at 4, you can come at 3. That's the welcoming that we do. We don't just say because we're open from 2 to 6 that you have to be there. Some people come and stay an hour, they get what they need, they leave. But it's a great daytime day center where veterans, not only do they get a chance to be in a great environment, but it also gives one of the family members a chance to be able to do something that they may not be able to have time to do while
And
they're
that's
caring for the veteran.
because there
So,
is a less pretty side, the less pretty side, and the side that we don't normally talk about is that the families of the veterans, because you have veterans who will not talk to their families because they do not feel like they would understand due to veteran status. They rather talk to another veteran. But an example, we had a veteran wife who came in. She did most of the talking, not the husband. She did because she needed to understand what options her husband had. And we could talk to a veteran all day long, but the language is different when you're talking to a family member. And there's also another side of this. If a veteran is just upset and over the VA and believes that anything that is connected to the VA is just bad. Sorry, it's just bad or not for them. There's Heroes Corner.
Oh, there goes Taz.
Well, it is now 20 minutes after the hour. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. Today, our guests are Reggie and Shontaze. They are the co-founders of Heroes Corner. And down at the bottom, you can see that it's scrolling. There's their email, heroescorner@gmail.com. You can reach them at 616-328-3812. They meet every single Thursday at Marge's Donut Den, located at 1751 28th Street Southwest. That's in Wyoming, Michigan, 49519. They are open or there from 2 until 6 p.m. And they offer a plethora of services for those persons who are veterans or related to a veteran, or you just happen to have a friend who's a veteran and may need some help or services. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. So Dave, you have, what I heard a lot about was that there's a lot of peer support. And so is this something that you can refer your veterans to, with your peer support program that you have?
Absolutely. Because both, as Reggie and Taz said, it's, what are veterans looking for, and what's the piece that's going to resonate best with them? Mm-hmm. As you alluded to, being at the VA might not be the space for an individual. And here's another opportunity for folks to come and check it out. So it's back to, again, there is no one space. And sometimes folks want to say, well, it's like, no, there shouldn't only be one. And then, so definitely referring folks to this. I mean, because peer support, I like to say peer support is disability advocates' secret sauce. But it's not a secret sauce that the recipe is a secret, because the recipe is people who come together who have similar experience, and they're able to, again, laugh about, oh my gosh, laugh because you're going to cry if you're not laughing. You're at the VA trying to get some service. I was just meeting with a veteran and his wife last Friday, and just some terrible things happening, doing some advocacy with and against the VA. And, the VA is a big bureaucracy. We at Disability Advocates are a little bureaucracy. Every bureaucracy has its limits, even us. At the same time, Dr. Kimberly has heard me say this a lot, Reggie. I may not believe in the creation of veterans. However, once veterans are created, it is 100%. There is just nothing to excuse that. The federal government, we continue to mess up at that level. I don't know what's happening at the state level these days. We've had the state director of Veteran Services, but again, it's a federal obligation, and it needs to be done in such a way that veterans aren't afraid of the VA. Mm-hmm. So, all of that stuff. And then here's just an awesome, safe environment for people to just come hang out. So Loving that.
Yeah. And one of the other great things about Heroes Corner is that we know some of us are already trained and specialized in, like me, in peer support. And I know when a veteran is in crisis, and we know how to get them to the VA, and we can sit along. And another thing is that we can sit alongside of them and advocate with them. And that's another thing that we found out. A lot of our veterans are not being heard, you know, and that's another sad point about how we can help our VAs not miss an opportunity to have a veteran return. You know, when a veteran feel like they're not being heard, that's why they decide that they don't want to deal with the VA. They rather seek services outside. And one of the things with us, we're not trying to drive people from the VA. We just know when to drive them to the VA, and that's one of the differences, because we're all about helping a veteran, saving a life, and helping a veteran get to that next level. But also, we want to see that veteran being able to enjoy life, you know. And anybody that knows right now, we have a lot of young people coming back that just seen a war that nobody was prepared for. And there's a young man or a young lady right now that their parents don't know what to do with them. And hopefully somebody that's listening on this show will be able to go back and tell that parent, why don't we try and bring our son and daughter to Heroes Corner to see that it's a different way out, instead of thinking that they're doing that kid a favor by letting them, well, not say kid, that young man or young woman a favor by letting them just isolate in their basement. Because everybody know that think you're alone and bad company makes bad choices. And I'm firm on trying to show veterans that, man, if you give them something to do, we have a guy, and I love him to death. And you know what? He loves working on leather. He was an isolated veteran, and now he's there every Thursday. He has not missed one. He's always has something to do.
Nice.
He's always, now he has a purpose. And what we did, we allow him to make his crafts and to show anybody else that wants to join how to do leather work. And see, that's why when it comes to each one, teach one, reach one, I don't know about leather work, you know?
Me either.
Yeah. So
Then we get to watch him do it.
Yeah, it is so good to see veterans, when you see the smile on their face and you know that they've been isolated or people didn't believe in them. And then all of a sudden, here it is, Taz, go over there and set your table up, do your leather. All of a sudden, that veteran is somebody. And not only is he somebody, but he's somebody to somebody that wanted to learn how to do leather work. And that's the greatness of what we learn. And it's just so good. And I just hope when you guys come out that you guys can get the feeling, the joy that we have in our heart to know that veterans really need this. And this is something that we hope that people will start to see. There's veterans. Hey, look, we meet every Thursday from 2 to 6. You will not believe, I don't know how many calls Taz get, but she gets bombarded. Everybody goes, why can't we do this every day? Well, that's because we don't have our own building, and nobody's out there yet reaching out to give us a space. Like Marge opened up her doors and gave us an hour she had available, and we have to make the most of that right now. But I love it.
All right. Well, that's a good place to pause and say, if you are someone out there that would love to come alongside of veterans to help them live their own self-directed life, we would welcome you to make a donation, donate space, donate time so that they can have another day. You can reach them at 616. Taz, this is your number?
That's Heroes Corner's number.
Okay.
Yes.
So 616-328-3812 if you would like to donate space, maybe there's a church that can open up their doors and they have a community room. Oh my gosh. Or maybe they can just go to the Special Olympics Michigan, because there's plenty of space.
Busy.
Where I will be tomorrow with Miss Trina Edmondson.
What time you here, Taz?
1 p.m. I will be there.
I'm downtown tomorrow, 1 p.m. But if we co-host something, don't tell anybody. We're conspiring, but because folks, Taz only said the word in passing. We have a program here we call the Veterans Apprentices, because internship just ain't it. Because the apprentice, to me, brings that value, that life experience, back to peer support. Every veteran apprentice we've ever had has tons of life experience and that desire to learn more. And nothing against college students who are the typical interns, but again, apprentice to me just is a more honor-filled piece. I'm just saying, if we ranked our apprentices, I'm not going to say Taz would be number one, but she'd be number one. I mean, Taz was just so fantastic, and then she continued, as she said, she's learning, like, what does this take? You put a piece of paper on a wall and say, hey, come be here Thursday 2 to 6. and you just have an open, welcoming space. I mean, to me, that is just like, we're planting those seeds. So Taz was an apprentice. So if you're a veteran looking to get back into a job, I mean, it has to be service-related disability, right, Taz?
I'll need 10% for the VOC rehab program.
Yep.
And that's why I spoke on DAC as well, because had it not been for DAC, I couldn't copy Reginald Howard. I was able to do a peer support over at DAC, which is never done, not for a advocate peer support, with the teamwork of Dave as well as Dr. Kimberly Kennedy. We sat around tables, and Miss Trina Edmondson, we made that possible. I learned so much from that platform that I could not stop. I remember coming to Dave's office with tears in my eyes. I was like, we have to find a way I stay. And he, as long as Trina Edmondson kept finding ways within that VOC rehab program, along with Dr. Kimberly Kennedy coming in doing meetings. I always wanted to follow Reginald Howard in peer support. He's one of the greatest. He's one of the best. He does things on his personal time, but it allowed this to happen. It allowed Heroes Corner to happen from so much inclusion, disability advocating, Dr. Kimberly Kennedy, listening to her and Dave conversations, ear hustling from the cubicle right across from Dave Belowski. Yeah, I listen to everything, because you learn no matter where you go. And as much as me and Reggie can learn from people like you guys as well as others, that's what we take back to our heroes at Heroes Corner. We have people who speak across the room because they know of what we're talking about. But it's platforms that you guys have that allows Heroes Corner to breathe and to continue to advocate for disabilities as well as veteran disabilities.
Well, and again, thank you so much for saying that, but it's a two-way street, because we continue to learn. You know, we're like, hey, let's try this. And you're like, no, Dave, no. And so that's good, but that's good. And so
it really is. I mean, when you think about it, we both had a conversation, you know, now It's been 2 years and 3 weeks later, that offered us a platform to be able to have this conversation.
I was like this.
both of you, you know, to invite you.
Absolutely. And so definitely talk with Trina tomorrow about some co-hosting of some events around this space, because it's, again, some of the, I'm going to say more appropriate space is still almost finished, but come on in, check some things out. And because, like I said, if we're not supporting and honoring our veterans, beyond shame on us, you know, because I'm just going to leave it there.
We're going to leave it there. And it's now 4:34. Again, we want to say thank you so much to Taz and to Reggie just to take time out to tell us about the wonderful things that you're doing. And you are rolling on the road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave today, where we have Shontaze Jones and we have Mr. Reginald Howard, who are the co-founders of Heroes Corner, which they're there every Thursday. They meet at Marge's Donut Den. It's located at 1751 28th Street Southwest. That's Wyoming, Michigan, 49519 from 2 to 6 p.m. Their email is heroescorner1@gmail.com. Phone number 616-328-3812. Please call them, get a hold of them. If you are a veteran, you know of a veteran, you're a friend of a veteran, a cousin, auntie, mommy, daddy, I'm telling you, people don't understand that the bigger an entity is, the more likely they are to have gaps in services. They look at numbers, then it's based on funding. What programming can we do that can get the funding? And sometimes we forget about the grassroots efforts and those people who kind of fall through the cracks. And so I am so grateful for people like myself, and Reggie and Shontaze that say, you know what, there's still a group. There are still people who are falling, in the cracks. And our job, because we never, as military folks, we leave no one behind. We leave no soldier behind. And so we had to say, guess what? There's a gap in services, and I think this is where I can fill in. And I'm going to pull all those that I can with me to make sure that everybody is getting. Dave, I greatly appreciate you because, your heart is so big that you're always saying, okay, well, guess what? We can't do everything at Disability Advocates of Kent County, but we can do everything. And that means that everything piece is by including others who are, oh, you know what? You can do that. Guess what? We need you. So we're going to put you in our Rolodex and we're going to say, hey, we may have a veteran that comes in. Our peer support program may not work for you, or maybe you didn't go through voc rehab. Maybe you didn't go through the regular channels to get to us, because I got to Disability Advocates through independent living. So there's more than one way to get somewhere. Just as long as we all understand that the end goal is, guess what? You have an opportunity to live your own self-directed life, whatever that looks like for you, as long as it's not harming yourself and others. Know that all of us are here together, and what we don't offer, they do over here. So thank you, Dave, for always opening up your heart, keeping your mind open to say, you know what, guys, we can't do everything, but we can do something, and we're going to allow you the space. And just that quickly, you guys were able to get some space to maybe probably have another day other than Thursday. And the other thing, if you guys want to donate, whether it's of your time, your money, your money. Oh, did I say that? Oh, your money. They accept donations. If you've got some board games that, you know what, your grandkids are too old to play, you don't play anymore, please call 616-328-3812. I am certain that the person who answers that phone is going to say, guess what? Meet me Thursday from...
You got it, Kim.
She arrives at 1 p.m. That's 1,300 hours for those who need. At 1,300 hours, she is going to be at 1751 28th Street. You can't miss it. I think Marge's Donut Den takes up like the whole, little strip mall.
It's accessible.
Nice. And
we have, all right, here we go.
All right,
That's
all right.
Veteran. She says, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. She is
here's another job for you, Reggie and Taz. Can you send along maybe this Thursday, next Thursday, put a piece of paper on the table and say to veterans, what are some games you'd like to see here? because then I can see us pushing that out on our Facebook page. Because like Dr. Kimberly said, people got plenty of games collecting dust at home, underneath the steps, or in the attic, wherever. And to say, this would be awesome. Nothing, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
And arts and crafts. That's something we have none of and has been requested. We can really, really use. It doesn't matter if it's crayons, color pencils, chalk. Oh, we can definitely use arts and crafts. It is a great mental health.
Oh, so does that mean that we get to write on the sidewalk of Marge and Stone Den? That's all I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure
I made of chalk.
Hey.
So I just want to know, can I make some smiley faces on our sidewalk? I just want to know.
If you out there, I'm out there.
Yeah.
I want to make some smiley faces.
I'll show you the spot on the sidewalk where you can. It won't be in front, but we got some sidewalks down the side.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But that is definitely one of the things that we are missing for whatever reason. We have tons of games, but no arts and crafts. And then we started getting people a few weeks ago who was like, hey, you got any paper and paint? And I'm like, not yet, but we will.
Well, let me say that 100 Shades of Disability is going to come down there next Thursday with a nice packet of art supplies.
Okay. Thank you.
Love you, Kim.
That's how we do around here. We just, we make stuff happen. You needed space, Dave gave you space. You need some art supplies. Hey, I got the art supplies. We got you.
Yeah, this is rocking. This is what
we got you. So I just want everybody to know we're gonna do a special Rolling on the Road episode, and I'm gonna actually roll for real. And I'm gonna tell you. So people ask, how do you grandparent and you're in a wheelchair? So I may happen to have a few extra wheelchairs in the garage. And so that's what my grandkids do. They fight over who's gonna get a wheelchair, and they race up and down the street. So, maybe they want to have some wheelchair races. I don't know. In the parking lot of Marge's Buggy. Because look, I'm ready. I don't like tooting my own horn, but I'm just saying, I toot my own
happen.
Well, we love you, Dr. Kennedy. You know it. And Dave, we love you. And this is why it's so important. And thank you so much for allowing us to be on your show, because
absolutely,
it may not seem like it, but people don't just open their doors. And when somebody does that, we appreciate you so much. And but one of the greatest moments was when you introduced your dad to us when we were at the Methodist house, and when we met your dad, and I got a chance to see why you are so feisty and why you have so much energy, and and it's just so good to see how you took the reign of always being the sparkle in your dad's eye and not let him down. So I want to tell you personally, thank you. I know your fight. And I love it that you never gave up, and I love it that you never give up. And from the time I've known you, and now I see, as soon as you started moving, you started running. And I guarantee you one thing: if anybody knows you, if they are your way, they're gonna get ran over. So one thing about you, you do what you say you're gonna do. So I love you, and I just want to tell you, these are some of the times we get a chance to give people their flowers, because the simple fact of it is, what you've done for our life too is not going unnoticed. And if we can, and I know there's things coming up in your life, if you need us to knock on doors and put up flags and stuff, call on your veterans, because
you already know, Dr. Kim.
Yeah, because we love walking. We love walking around. Yeah, we love walking around with our Heroes Corner shirts on, and we're there for you. And we represent the same way you represent us. We'll represent you. So thank you.
Okay, so I'll have my moment.
I encourage our veterans to reach out to their vocational rehabilitation counselor and say, hey, what's up with Disability Advocates of Kent County? I'm hearing veterans talk about it. I just think it's the best program I've ever seen before. I think that becoming family with you guys was the best thing ever, but I want our veterans to ask about Voc Rehab and Disability Advocates. Ask how and get involved, because it's one of the best things you can ever do.
And with that, it is now 4:45, and we want to say thank you. The time always goes by so quickly. You know, they say when you're having fun, and it's always a pleasure to be able to talk with you guys. And not only with Voc Rehab, if you are like myself, you needed to go through independent living. They have an awesome program where they just come alongside you at Disability Advocates of Kent County to help you live your own self-directed life, figure out what it is that now that you have a disability, or your disability, let's say you've had one, but now it has incapacitated you a little bit, and you're like, what do I do next? Definitely. Great programming. Please get connected. You can call 616-514-0731. That's me. You guys know where to find me on social media. I think I'm just about on every platform. You can call Disability Advocates of Kent County, 616-949-1100. I was like, wait a minute. I was like 949, and then I thought about 911, and I was like, no, not 911, because it's 949 and then it's 1100. So 911 is in there, but sometimes
right in the middle
emergency, situation. So that was the first thing that I thought. Or you can reach out to 616-328-3812 and get a hold to these wonderful people with Heroes Corner. Again, I am just so excited. You guys, we're going to have a special show on next Thursday, because I will be rolling live to Heroes Corner, so you guys can see what it's like there, maybe interview a couple of folks so they can talk about, just how wonderful it is, so that you can see for yourself. And okay, I'm just already going to tell you, I want an apple fritter and coffee ready, because Marge's, so, we love shameless plugs. So we have to say thank you to Marge's Donut Den. I met Marge, I want to say back in 1900 and I met her back in 1994. I met Marge in 1994, and she has always opened up her heart, her pocketbook, and her donut den to anyone who was in need. I was with another grassroots organization at that time, and she came alongside and helped us, gave us a space and just a wealth of knowledge. Yeah. So we want to give a shameless plug to Marge. And plus, that one time she gave me a bracelet. So I'm just saying. And it was real pretty. And I still be wearing my bracelet that Marge bought me. So
yeah. Oh, again, and whatever it's worth, she won the Grand Rapids Rotary Club's Fred Meyer Service About Self Award last year.
Yes.
So again, people in this community know that Marge is a servant. She's a servant who sells donuts. It's not the other way around. Yeah. She's a servant who sells donuts. So yeah, awesome. Go there, buy a dozen, and keep having fun at the donut den.
All righty. So we want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are watching the replay, thank you so much for watching Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. And if you would like to be a guest, or you have something that you want the community to know about, please reach out to us, 616-514-0731, and we'll work with you. We'll get you on the show. And thank you again, guys, so much for stopping by to see us and to talk about, again, Heroes Corner. They meet every Thursday at Marge's Donut Den, located at 1751 28th Street, Southwest Wyoming, Michigan, 49519, from 2 to 6 p.m. And that's 1400 to 1800 if you need that. And the number is 616-328-3812. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day.
Thank you.